Thank you. Yeah, I'm Mike Zuckerman, and I'm a culture hacker. And as it says, my Twitter handle is @theotherzuck. And that's because I'm really focused on user-generated spaces. I think we've learned a lot in the last couple decades on how human interaction happens when you are in the digital space, which open source, APIs, and user-generated content. So that's what we're doing, is kind of taking those lessons and applying them to the physical space. And I'm obsessed with physical spaces, with buildings. The spaces that we create and that we hang out in really are a reflection of our culture. And they're forums, they're the informal places between home and work where we discuss, where we learn about each other, where we have fun. But nowadays, everywhere you go, for the most part, you have to pay to be there. Someone else has already decorated it, and people decide what is happening there. So that's driven me to explore kind of alternatives to that, like street art, where you see people using walls to express themselves, or Burning Man, where an entire city is prototyped. And then also, I had the pleasure to experience the catacombs underneath Paris a couple weeks ago. And there's hundreds of miles of tunnels that have been there for centuries, and you wind up discovering amazing places. This is called the beach. Yeah, this is under the ground of Paris, 60 feet underground. And there's theaters there that have been active since the 60s. And there's cataphiles, who are the lovers of the catacombs, and there's catacops. There's this little cat and mouse game, and they shut things down. And so there aren't really rules there, but there is respect, kind of like taggers don't go over a completed mural. And so even though you can go under the city to find these, you can also find spaces that are right in front of us, urban spaces that just have buildings that aren't being utilized. This is a 120,000 square foot building in Barcelona. It's been vacant for 2 decades. And I broke in here. I saw 3 of my first 5 slides are documenting illegal activity. This isn't being recorded, right? But yeah, this is a building that's just waiting for the right community to be given permission to activate it. So I'll back up a little bit about myself. I moved to the Bay Area 10 years ago to do green building. But we were building multi-million-dollar houses for multi-millionaires. And if we're really going to tackle a challenge like climate change, we're going to need everybody to be involved. So after that, I started an environmental nightclub. And we wanted to use culture to attract people, because we need everybody to be a part of the solution. And we had 91% diversion from landfill, so we compost and recycled almost everything. We had energy-efficient lights, waterless urinals. But beyond that, beyond doing as little harm as possible, we wanted to do as much good as possible with the assets we possessed. So we had rooftop beehives and worms, and we had an energy-generating dance floor. But the other thing we did is when we weren't using our space on Sunday through Wednesdays, we would let people use it for free. And that's another kind of definition of waste, is underutilized capacity, or latent stuff that's not being utilized is wasteful. Yeah. So through that, I was sent to Uganda by UNICEF during the 2010 World Cup. And I brought an inflatable projector screen and showed all of the games for free. And during halftime, we would ask the community, what are the challenges and what are we going to do about it? And with an environmental lens, there was plastic everywhere. One of the things we did is we started the Buvera Ball project. It's the Lugandan word for plastic. And we made soccer balls out of plastic bags. And kids could earn money for their school fees. And it actually got on the national news, and it was a really cool project. But beyond that, another challenge that came up was road safety. There was almost a child a week was getting killed at this one intersection that was a couple of 100 yards away from where we were showing the games. And this wasn't something I went there to do, but when you pose the question, what can we do, and you have everyone there, not just the people who are already civically engaged, everyone, because everyone likes football, this came up. So we wound up just buying a crossing guard sign and going down there and stopping traffic, and we wound up doing a 4,000-person protest on Friday night, Friday during rush hour. And still today, we have a crossing guard who helps every morning and evening. He gets paid $2.20 a day, which is about a living wage for 8 hours of manual labor, to help people cross. And he actually got hit once, but he's okay. But there haven't been any fatalities on his watch. So you could literally equate that to hundreds of lives over the last 3.5 years, almost 4 years now. After that, I spent some time in Haiti with a Burners Without Borders inspired project called Haiti Humanitaire. And I did the Inside Out project, which is JR, a TED Prize winner. But instead of the traditional way, we wound up doing it mixed with local graffiti artists. And while I was there, this is on Haiti Humanitaire's property, I lived in an earthship. And this is a green building concept as well, but it doesn't cost millions of dollars. It only costs about $5,000 or $6,000 to build. And it's one of the best places to live in all of Haiti. It's cool, has its own power and Wi-Fi, shower, toilet. It's all kind of a ecosystem. So there's different kind of smarter ways to do green building. It's not all about LEED certification and platinum certification, which I'm not knocking, but there are other kind of simpler solutions that you can come up with. And so it was in this time here that I really saw that depressed urban environments, disaster zones, and temporary events, festivals like that thing in the desert, are really the best places to prototype things. You have temporary is super powerful, but you also have places where there's failed systems, that things aren't working, that we're able to try something out and people are open to it. So around that time, kind of the meme of hacking was coming out there. And it kind of has a negative connotation still of breaking into people's bank accounts and war games and nuclear codes. But really, I believe that hacking is in a renaissance of allowing people to reimagine things and kind of put them together in new ways. And I started to attend hackathons, and then I was hosting hackathons. Then I was double booked on weekends with hackathons, and it started getting crazy. And these are 3 different hackathons that I've participated in or organized in the last year. One of them, British Airways gave us a 747, and we took 100 people from San Francisco to London in preparation for the G8 summit, and we hacked on how to get people involved in STEM. This other one was a millennial train project where we got a 1938 California Zephyr and took it from San Francisco to DC. And you see that there's amazing things happening in every country, every city. Omaha, Nebraska, Salt Lake City, and then this other one was a Hack-a-Surf a Share-a-thon, where we have people get together and surf, and it's really just about creating experiences, shared experiences. That's really what relationships are about. That's what we're here for this week. So through that, I got a call to participate in the National Day of Civic Hacking. This is the granddaddy of all hackathons. It was organized by the White House, NASA, 33 government agencies that released their data sets to get hacked. But we wanted to see, what is civic hacking? And sure, you can use data sets to get bus information efficiently. And as we mentioned before, this is Rebar created Parking Day. They hacked the parking meter to create public space. But they did this kind of as a guerrilla action, and it spread around the world. There's, 170 cities that do it. But it also became a permanent thing, that you could get an actual permit to implement this in your city. Another one here, nod, Peter Hirschberg's in the crowd. This is urban prototyping, and a nod to Gandhi. Prototype the change you want to see in the world. So they're actually making things that people are coming up with at hackathons, instead of just presenting at the end. The White House hosted one of them. There was in 87 different cities. And again, the word hack, the concept of hack is evolving. So the White House wouldn't have gotten near this a couple years ago. They said that what they were looking for is a variety of interpretation of civic hacking and something that lasts beyond the weekend. So we decided to hack National Day of Civic Hacking and declare it National Month of Civic Hacking. We're going to do a 30-day hackathon. So we just needed a building. This was a building that a broker friend of mine was trying to rent. He couldn't. We told him about the concept. We got a letter of recommendation from the mayor's office. And for just $1, we were able to rent this building that usually goes for $24,000 a month with a 5-year minimum term. Woo! So we declared, here's our free space. The first thing we got was a logo. It's created by Micah Daigle, who made Burner Map. I think most of you guys know that as well. And it's simple. It's just brackets. But that's exactly what we were trying to do, and say that inside you can do whatever you'd like. So Free Space was born. What city? San Francisco. And let's see. It's stuck. Hack it? Here it goes. I think it's going. All right. Let's get a little music to liven up the environment, because I'm really excited about this project. And so we had this building, but it was dirty, because we got it for free. So we put out the word to the community that we needed to clean it. And even though that's not fun, they showed up with Pine Sol and brooms and mops and gloves, and we kind of knew that this thing was going to work, because we didn't have to pay to have someone come in and clean it. So we had this big empty space, and we needed stuff. And the first thing we got given to us was a truck. This is usually used for perimeter at Burning Man. And of course we painted it, and we were going to paint free truck on it, but we thought people would steal it. So then we started transforming the outside of the building. It was, kind of ugly, abandoned lot. And we had Ian Ross and Zio Ziegler, who actually has a piece only a couple blocks from here, start to transform this blank canvas of a building into a beautiful creation of art. And it happened only in like 3 days. And it kind of threw the gauntlet down and said, here's what we've done on the outside. What are you going to do inside? So we started to have meetings, figure out our governance structure, what we want to happen there, ask the community, what do you guys want to do? And we came up with some rules: no money and no alcohol. And the other principles were around inclusivity, some things that are modeled after the 10 principles. And again, we just posed the question, what kind of things should we do now that we're all here? And we decided we wanted to hack San Francisco. So people started to show up with their things and contributing their time and resources, and this is Swami did a cleansing ceremony to kick things off, and people were just bringing all sorts of things into the space. We didn't buy anything. And as more people started to show up, we got more ambitious and decided to take the empty lot next door and put in a garden. And this was just in like 10 days, and we had everything given to us. And we let people have permission and agency to draw on the walls and to do murals, and the space completely transformed. And when people came in, they said it was like their space. And this is 11 days into the project, how it transformed. And we had parties, and cool people showed up, and when you remove money and you get to see what people are truly passionate about, you get to see all of these trends emerging of DIY, maker movement, the sharing economy, scrap hacking, and we even had our own bike share, where people could rent bikes for free for up to 2 days. And whatever people wanted to manifest, they would be able to put it on a wall and get people to join it. And we really were bringing parts of Burning Man into the city. This is the jellyfish, if you recognize them. And we were civically engaged. And the other thing we did is we said, you can do whatever you like here. And we wound up doing 119 events in our first 30 days. And we threw one event, kind of our opening. The rest of it was from the community. And it was everything from yoga classes and cooking and dance classes and hackathons and basically just whatever you wanted. And started to get 100 likes a day for our first 15 days, and the freaks started to show up. But we like freaks, and it didn't scare away the moms from bringing their kids. And we did youth hackathons, and we had kindergarten classes coming for field trips and superhero workshops. And that was what we wanted to do, is show that hackers aren't only coders and data analysis and everything, that it's anyone who wants to try things. And we had politicians and building owners and homeless people. Everyone just kind of showed up. And that was really the concept, is that innovation, just like the natural world, works with diversity. You really need everyone's perspective and their background to come and add to it. And this is about the people. This is Nima. He was a barista, and he quit his job to work at FreeSpace full-time. And now he has a job as the event coordinator at the Hub, which kind of leveled up from what he was doing before. This is Mark Roth. He was homeless, and he learned how to use 3D printers and laser cutters, and they call him Homeless to Hacker in the press now. And he was our FreeSpace fellow, and he's working on a learning shelter that can teach people from homeless shelters how to level up and transform themselves into a job. This is Arvin. He was working at Apple for 5 years until he quit and discovered FreeSpace right after that. And he came every single day for 6 weeks straight. And now he has a new job that he loves at Spotify. And to show the contrast, this is FJ. He unfortunately lost his daughter at the age of 6 and became addicted to heroin. Until he came in touch with the FreeSpace community and really found a home there and was as dedicated as anybody. Like when we had to leave, strike, breakdown, he was the guy, and he'll be a friend of mine for life. So people just started adding more color and projects, and we got shipping containers donated to us by eco-villages and 3D printers from 3D Systems, and people were modifying their Google Glass to be adjusted to fit onto eyeglasses. And groups were showing up, Architecture for Humanity, Institute for the Future, kind of just spreading these ideas. There was all this kind of momentum, and we really were kind of making our mark on the city. And that was our goal. We wanted to show a different way. That's, such an expensive city. But we got invited to the White House. We were one of the champions of change, and they wanted to hear about how this is an example of civic engagement. And it's such an interesting time right now with protests going on all over the world, in Venezuela and Ukraine and Spain, and we're kind of thinking that there's a new way, instead of just being able to vote, protest, or become a public servant, that we can figure out direct action. We don't have to wait for permission from the powers that be. We can just take action and kind of move things into our own hands. And that's what FreeSpace provides an opportunity for that. There's so much latent capacity, unemployed people don't have opportunities. So back in San Francisco, we got on the cover of the Chronicle, said work plus play equals FreeSpace, which love that title. And we kind of said, we only intended to do this for 30 days, but come on, we're not ready to clean up yet. And we wound up doing an Indiegogo campaign, raising $26,000 so that we could stay in the building for another month. And we kept the experiment going, and in that time, we started to get inquiries from all over the world saying, how do we do a free space in our community? So we created a toolkit open source to say, here's how we did it, here's how you can do it, and we started to distribute that. And we started to get inquiries from literally all over the world. And I can't even remember all of them right now, but we're gonna participate in National Day of Civic Hacking again. And I mean, just in America, we have Columbus, or just in North America, Columbus, Mexico City, Austin, New Orleans, Port-au-Prince, Boulder, LA, Detroit, Vegas, and then there's stuff in Europe. We just did an event in Paris for Fashion Week, where we hacked Fashion Week and did a free event. There's 3 women in Saudi Arabia who call themselves cultural provocateurs, and they want to create a space. Yeah, there's Tacloban in the Philippines, Mozambique, might even have 2, Uganda again, Ghana, you know. So it's really just pretty amazing that people are making it their own. And so our plan is to do it again for National Day of Civic Hacking. Only this time, you know, we have multiple locations. So this is the website for National Day of Civic Hacking. And just like we hacked it last time for National Month of Civic Hacking, we're going to call it Global Month of Civic Hacking. And the map hasn't fully been populated yet, but this shows the National Day, red, white, and blue, and then Dammam in Saudi Arabia is participating in the National Day of Civic Hacking. And the concept is to have this occur during the World Cup. The first game of the World Cup is on June 12th. It's Brazil versus Croatia. And we're going to use the halftime show to create this kind of global movement. And we're looking to get the space station to beam down a message and say, what is the current situation in your town? What is your vision for the future, and how would you like to get there? And then we have 30 days till the final game of the World Cup, which is watched by over 1 billion people, to do our own halftime show that's created by the people, not with advertising. And you know, right now there's a lack in content there. So we're trying to create this globally connected movement. It's only, I don't know, 11 weeks away or something. But there's communities in all these different cities that are trying to hack it together. They don't know exactly how to do it. We didn't know how to do it, but we're figuring it out together, and we're communicating. So that's kind of the crazy free space project that's just a 1-year experiment in what can happen when you give people space and permission. And I'm really stoked to be here talking. The downtown project is just filled with all of my favorite things, experimentation, and I'm really grateful for the opportunity to speak here to you guys. But what I'm also really interested in is seeing what can come out of that. So I'd like you guys to think about, can that happen here? And how would that happen here? Can we do something for National Day? Can we do something more long-term as part of the downtown project or even outside of the Llama? And see what happens when we can create a place for people to come and express themselves. So we're going to be, Peter, are we having lunch tomorrow to talk about this?
Yes.
Where is that happening?
Well, we haven't set a place yet.
Gold Spike?
I think we're having lunch at the Gold Spike.
Great. So if you guys want to talk about it, there's a few other locals. That's what we're here to do. That's what we came to see, is to learn and to meet each other, but we also want to implement stuff. So thank you guys very much for having me. Thank you.